In this video, I send it, but I go a little bit too deep, and we have some great side-by-side racing as we have a look at Spa. Hello everyone, and welcome back to a Gran Turismo video. We're going to start off a little differently. We're looking at this Spa race, Daily Race B right now. Okay, so this is the most common combination that is ever done in Gran Turismo 7. Spa and Group 3. Now, it's been 8 times the full course, 1 time the 24-hour race, and I just don't understand why, because to me, personally, it has some fundamental problems. What we're going to do is jump straight into the racing now then, and let's have a look at some of those problems and why they've not been solved in all this time when they use it the most. Right, here we are then in this first race, and we're starting P14, so let's talk about this rolling start because it is atrocious. And the first thing I'm so confused about. Now, fortunately, there, P14, we get a better start than P13, who starts on the other side of the track at the chicane. It's horrendous. Now, what we will do is jump on board them as we head towards turn 1. You see, I'm clearly past them as we head towards turn 1. But look at this braking then. So they release the brake because they see I'm further ahead and go for that rub-in. Now, I'm pretty sure that was a mistake and they thought they'd maybe broken too soon because they saw me brake so much further later, but I don't know. Seems a bit weird to me. You see me shaking my head and saying, why did you do that? But anyway, it is what it is. We still made the position, and we did survive that as we go up Eau Rouge and Radion. Well, I say go up Eau Rouge Radion. Completely mess up Eau Rouge and Radion as we clip the curb and go flying there. So there's only one consequence of that, and that is a 1-second penalty, which you can see right there. So yeah, the rolling start is absolutely terrible here. We jump on board the Ferrari then as they go into Pouon here. Ombra. As they go through his left and looking fine so far. Unsteering a little bit off there. Do go for the lift. Unfortunately, they clip the slippy stuff on the outside of Pouon and they go for a big old spin there in this Ferrari 458. The Ferrari's doing very well actually on the leaderboards as we jump on board myself, taking that penalty then. And let's see if we can stay ahead of the Spanish driver as we head towards Blanchimon then. I'm staying towards the inside. I'm trying to be predictable here then. So there's only one way they can go, and that's around the outside here. And they go for it. And they make it work as well. That's a really good move. And if you can read my lips, I also said that as well. A really, really good move there by the Spanish driver as we go into the bus stop chicane, where the awful rolling start happens. So, you know, we've done this race 9 times, arguably 8 times at the full course, which is that rolling start specifically. And the rolling start has never, ever been fixed. It wasn't fixed in GT Sport, and I don't understand why. We know it can be fixed. We know there's a distance decided there. They can start the race wherever they want. Lap 1 doesn't count, remember. We can't see a fastest lap here because lap 1 doesn't count. So they can change this, and they still haven't changed it. It's really, really frustrating here. What isn't frustrating, though, is the race we're having here with Aguacate. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say Spanish driver because that's much easier. We're having a good race here with the Spaniard then as we head towards turn 1. But yeah, I want to see that rolling start change. I really, really, really do. Because it's just atrocious. It's a joke. Oh, they're on the slippy stuff there. We should be passing out on the inside as we go up into P12. And look at this. Look at the gap towards the field ahead there. And it's just big gaps between each of the cars who start further back because we start in the middle of corners. It's horrendous. Right, what we're going to do is advance further on then. We're going to start lap number 4 here. We've got Super Rayo up ahead, another Spanish driver, as we go into turn number 1. Now, we do have 5 laps here this week. It's not always 5 laps at Spa. Sometimes it can be 4 laps. And the first lap, arguably, is the lap that you try and catch up to people, if you can catch up. Now, we've just short shifted to 5th gear there because I don't like too wide at Eau Rouge and Radion. Make sure you check out the full weekly race guide to see why I don't like too wide at Eau Rouge and Radion. But you see there, we've lost that momentum going up there. So we head towards the end of lap number 4 then. Through Blanchimon we go. I had to lift a little bit there just due to the dirty air, which is another big factor here at Spa then. So they go right then left. We're going to jump on board here as we go down the inside. We were alongside there at one point. Unfortunately, they just turned in a little bit while I was there. And, well, we get some ghosting there, which is beneficial in the grand scheme of it. Well, I was a bit frustrated with that at the time. Looking at it now, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. But let's see what we can do versus the Spanish driver. You can see my reaction there down in that right-hand side as we go into turn 1. Then we slow it down. Aguacata looking around the outside. We get a big old run there due to the oversteer moment the Spanish driver had. Right, we're going to head towards the Rouge Radial. We're side by side here. I wasn't giving this up. I'm on the inside technically for the corner. The Spanish driver behind me knows exactly what's going to happen here. They sort of back out of it. In towards the right we go. And they tried to turn in while I was still there. Gave him plenty of room. And we do get that position eventually then. Up into P11 we go as we get towards the end of the race. And we finish in P11. Now, one thing to remember with these races is I'm an A+ driver and we're racing A drivers there. So there is a difference in skill level there straight away. So I'm lucky that I can catch up to these drivers fairly quickly. Other people are not going to be in that situation. They really aren't. What we're going to do is jump into the next race where we're going to start in the unlucky position. Number 13, yes. 13 is definitely unlucky here. Look at where we're starting. We're not even pointing in the right direction. You have to really be on it to get this start right. And fortunately, I nailed it fairly okay. But again, look at the gaps instantly in this race. It is absolutely mental that these gaps are so massive. Look, 1 second to the car ahead, 1.5 seconds to the car behind. So if you're the same skill level and you're starting at this point, you're not going to catch up to anybody. You might have 1 lap of racing, if that. And it's dreadful. It's absolutely dreadful. It really is. Anyway, through the left we go here, and we go on the slippy stuff here, and I crash, which is always fun to see. I know you guys will see me crash occasionally to know that I can crash, and I do show my crashes where I do crash. Now, in towards the left we go. We're on board the Swiss driver here. He's on the outside of the Spanish driver. We had a good race with him. Unfortunately, they just get run out wide there. Does the Swiss driver, and they go for a bit of a spin, and it did blame the Spanish driver for that one. It did look like a bit of a run-off, to be honest with you, and more space potentially should have been held there. Moving right here, we've got a 4-second penalty for Kiko, who's going to head off the circuit now on the slippy stuff. Remember, you've got to get off that very quickly. I did talk about that in the weekly race guide, Kiko, and you really should watch that because it does give you these tips where you stay off that and you don't do this there where you're just spinning around, and Kylie Minogue's just come into my head. Spin me around. No, I won't even go there. I won't even go there. My door's open and my neighbours may hear me singing. Not the greatest thing in the world. Right, anyway, let's jump back on board myself here. We're caught up to Sokolo_B here in the Renault. The Renault looking like the meta car here, but a lot of MR cars can fight, and we're going to send it down the inside here. Last of the late breakers, unfortunately for me. I just got a little bit too deep here. If I did make contact, that would have been on me, but they defend this beautifully. Really good defensive move there. I had to give them space on the outside, and they just did that perfectly. Really well played with that. We get a faster lap, but that's not a fast lap in the slightest here as we head in towards turn 1. Looking at on the inside, but I'm not really alongside there to make that work. So back out of it for now, and we remain in P14. The two people who have crashed in this race have both left the race at this point, so I am still at the back of the field. Right, we're going to head up towards Rouge and Radion once again. Let's see what we can do here as we go up here. Remember, dirty air, a big problem here at Spa as well. We hit the curb, though, which is my own problem, and my own driving being terrible. And did we get a track limit penalty there? Hopefully not. Oh, half a second. That is a bit annoying. We jump further up then here. We're on Baby Shoom, or I assume that's meant to be Baby Shoomy. Slight contact with the Spanish driver here, and it looks like they are struggling a little bit in this Rothmans Renault RS01 as we go into Pouhon. In we go. There's understeer there. They've got dirt on their tyres. Sure, they've got even more on them now as we go through here. Now, we're going to be catching up to you very quickly. You can see my perspective in that top right-hand side then. So, Baby Shumi goes towards the left-hand side, and we're going to try and go down the inside then. And there we are. Hello, everybody. Look, there's me with that 0.5 second penalty. Now, all Baby Shimmer has to do is stay with me there. But unfortunately, they go for a spin as well, getting dirt on their tyres. It does force a lot of oversteer, a lot of understeer, and it's not really the greatest. So I've taken the penalty now. We're on lap number 4. We're back with Sakalo. Let's see what we can do as we go through Les Combes. Then they've gone a bit deep there. They're on the slippy stuff. They're about to catch it. Quick reactions from myself needed there to avoid and make a decision, essentially. Where do I go, right or left? I stayed left. They went right. I mean, it ended up fair game there, but very lucky indeed, I would say, as we go through the left-hander. We have called up back up to this Spanish driver, who's drives in the Audi this time, maybe because they saw me using the Audi previously, I'm not too sure. Got a big old run on them as we head towards Pouhon then. We go back on board the chase cam as we go into here. I have to lift off a little bit more there, leave some space on the outside, which I do there. Really good defensive move by the Spanish driver as we jump back on board here, and this is the final lap, so we'll stay on board this to the end of the race. Let's see if we can make the move. We get very close to the rear end of the Audi R8. So for those that don't know why I choose the Audi R8 when the Renault is potentially a better car, I drove for Audi in the Manufacturer Series in 2019 and in 2020 briefly as well. I went to all the live events, of course, driving for Audi. It's the car that suits my driving style the most, and I really just like Audi R8s. I really do, and obviously that's my obtainable dream car that I am trying to get. And we are going to get to 80,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed already, please do subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. But that journey is on. Of course, we have the 60,000 special, the 70, and then we'll get to the 80, and that's if we get there, of course. Hard on the brakes then here. The Spanish driver goes defensive as we go into the final corner here. For the final time here in race number 2 as well. We continue out there trying to get the run on them as we head towards the line. It's not going to quite work here. Good race there, though, on that final lap. And once again, we are further back. But look at those gaps. Those gaps are large. 4 seconds, and it's a second between the next group, and then another second between the next group, so on and so forth. I'm starting in P14 in race number 3, and you're probably going, Tidge, why aren't you starting further up the grid? Well, don't worry. I'm going to do a race where I start at the front just to show you the extreme advantage P1 actually gets over the back of the grid. There's a wheel bug that I've told and said about many times. It still exists in the game at the moment where force feedback changes or rotation changes. It can vary with that as we go through turn 1. Now, as you had a terrible start there. They've started in the unlucky position of P13. It generally is the worst position to start here at Spa. And you don't pick your spot either. You can put the best lap in the world in for yourself, your driver skill rating, and you could still end up in P16 and just start in a terrible position and never catch up to anybody in this race. It's a race I really do wish they'd fix, and it confuses me so much why they use this combo so much. This race though, this is a fun one. Make sure you stay tuned with this one, and if you are enjoying it, as always, do get a like and do subscribe to the channel. Go on board chase cam then as we go into this corner side by side with you then, and there's been a big incident there with Kiko, but we are through. We've gained a fair amount of positions there. 3 positions there? Lacombe, I'll take that. Happy days indeed. We do have Sokolo up ahead, but let's have a look at the incident that happened then. We're on board Kiko here, who had the issue in the previous race. Heading in towards Lacombe then. Oh, they're going to send it down the inside. That was last of the late breakers. If Carlsberg did moves, it wouldn't be one of them. And Carlsberg then spins out back into Kiko. So Kiko, 2.5 seconds of penalties. They're not having a good day here, are they? The previous race was 4 seconds of penalties. This one, 2.5. I'd recommend you probably just calm it down a little bit in terms of your racing if you are getting constant penalties like that. At number 2, Kemmel Straight. Oh, we're going on the inside of the Italian Umbra then as we go into the right-hander. Side by side at Lacombe. We give each other space. Beautiful stuff here. And there's an incident up ahead then between the German, well, 2 Germans actually, as we go into the right-hander. It compromises me a little bit, but look at that rear view mirror then. Umbra goes down the inside here. Very opportunistic driving as we go into this right-hander. And it looks like Umbra's going to get this one done. It's very hard to stick around the outside. Oh, a bit too cautious there. So we do maintain position as we go into the left-hander. Now, you are seeing some really good racing on this particular race, which is always nice to see. But the first 2 races, it wasn't really there for the entire race, was it? I mean, they were very quick jumps. It's a 10-minute race. Fortunately, they have made it 5 laps this week. I've talked about the 4-lap issue before here at Spa. That occasionally happens. Oh, we got somebody off there. Who was that? Nitrogen was off on the right-hand side. So we try and run the outside here. We do get it stopped. They gave me room as well. Appreciate that. Good sportsmanship there as we continue into the fast right and on to the back straight. Or, well, arguably the back straight. It's Kemmel Straight counts as the back straight. I don't have no idea what counts as the back straight anymore. Anyway, we're right behind Koala P here, who did say hello in the lobby. So hello to you as well. And they're just going to slippy stuff on the exit then. So we're going to go towards the left-hand side. I'm pretty sure they're just going to lift here and let me go. There we go. I appreciate that, but I do love a good race as well as we head towards turn number 1. In we go. Do we get it stopped? We do indeed. And then we accelerate out. Now, we are still on the leaderboard, amazingly, which I really like to see. I didn't get the 216 that I wanted to just yet, but I may go for it later on in the week. I am off this week, which is always nice. Gives me a bit of extra free time. We're on lap number 4 then, and the Fried is up ahead, the Austrian driver, in an SLS. Now, you don't see that car too often. It has been a bit of a secret hidden car for quite a while, that one. It does have some very strong tracks and some not so strong, but we're going to try around the outside of the SLS as we head towards Lacombe again. And look at this, and we try and outbrake them in towards the right. Space left there as well. Look at that, it's beautiful racing. They try and go for the cutback, not going to quite work there. I was just on the apex, and we maintain or gain P6, but maintain it as well once we do take that. Catch up to Daniel Len as we go through Blanchimont in the Lamborghini Huracan, which is very near the top. Same engine as this car, of course, the V10 engine, 5.2 litre, as we go down the inside there. Daniel broke very early for that one. It did shock me a little bit. I was prepped for it just in case, but you can see there, we made it happen, and we are in P5. That's how the race finishes, unfortunately. We remain in P5. Let's have a look at those gaps again. And you can see there, the little groups there. So 9 plus 9 seconds for that group, plus 12, plus 13. It's just all 1 second gaps. So the racing isn't really there here at Spa. And this always confuses me in terms of Spa and why it's used so much in terms of a daily race. Now, we are going to get onto this in a second. I jumped onto my YouTube account. Of course, this is where I do the time trial laps, just to show you where P1 starts. Nice and easy on the straight. Now, look at all this extra space they could use here. Remember, lap 1 doesn't count anyway in terms of fastest laps. There's still an extra few hundred meters there they could use and get everybody even on this one. But I would argue the 24-hour layout, which starts on this section of the circuit, why not just use this one? If you really want to use Spa and a rolling start, use this as the final one. Now what we are going to do is jump to the final lap there where I've extended that lead. And you can see there on the map the little groups that happen. And this is all due to where people start. So literally the leaders are fine. They can have a good race. And then from about P6 onwards, you then have the gaps. And it really becomes a very frustrating race for a lot of people, in my opinion. It really does. We go a bit deep there into the final chicane, and we are going to end the race then. And that's going to be the final race, of course. But I do want to talk about this a little bit more because we've commentated on the racing. We've talked about the problems, but I just want to summarize it in a bit more detail. Great racing with you, Levitius, as well. You can check out Levitius on YouTube and Twitch. So in terms of this race then, the rolling start for me is a massive problem here at Spa. I don't understand. If we're using this so much, fix the damn race in the first place, okay? We've got the 24-hour layout. Use that instead. It's got a better rolling start, and you don't start uphill or on a chicane. Yes, some people may start at La Source if you really can't change it, but I'm pretty sure you can change that start. But even so, that's a better corner to start than literally where we're starting right now. And it can take people 2 to 3 laps to catch up, if you can catch up. And that's the critical part of this. Remember, I'm starting at the back, but I arguably, and I'm not trying to sound big-headed here, I'm better than a lot of the guys at the back of the field here, so I am going to catch up to them, you know. I was in the top 10 in the world on the leaderboard at the time. I've got the pace there to catch up. Some people don't. And it's not that they choose to start in P16 or P15. You know, you think about those lobbies, it's A plus and A. Imagine if you just got into A and you're maybe top of the A-B lobby and then you upgrade a bit more. Now you're at the bottom end of this lobby and now you struggle to upgrade. You're not going to have a fun race anymore. You're having fun races and now you're not going to have fun. Remember, you don't pick your qualification spot. You're put into that spot based on your practice laps, which there are problems with that as well. Remember that. I've done videos on that in the past. But if you're starting towards the bottom end of the grid, the fun is really lost very early on in that race. And you are seeing a lot of people quit the race as well very quickly indeed. On top of that, Spa does suffer with dirty air. That middle sector really is a struggle, especially on the harder compounder tyres. They're just very slippy and they're just very hard. And I don't like racing hard at all in this game anyway. I've spoken about it many times. But it just adds to the problem of dirty air in the middle of the circuit at Spa. Now, you saw me make a few mistakes at Eau Rouge and Radion. When I'm in the lead, it's absolutely fine. I don't have dirty air. But when you've got dirty air, cold, hard tyres, it makes it so much harder to set up an overtake in the first place. And you do have to be quite skilled to set up an overtake here at Spa. Also, and one of the big problems that's not really talked about too often at Spa, it's a very long lap. You know, it's over a 2-minute lap, 2 minutes 16, 2 minutes 17 lap there in terms of practice laps. 2 minute 18 in the race. That's a very, very long lap. And remember, Gran Turismo daily races are very short. They're very short indeed. So it does work a little bit better as a daily race C because arguably the length is doubled. But in terms of daily race B, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work indeed. You know, you think about it this way, okay? Daily race B, this is the 4th time it's used as a daily race B. It's been used as 4 times as daily race C. And the 1 24-hour run we did was also a daily race C. But if this is the 4th time as a daily race B, it's not really that good. It really isn't. Now in C we've had weather and all sorts, which is great. But B, no, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. A 2-minute lap on daily race B does not work. And I will keep highlighting that issue. I don't understand the obsession with Spa and Group 3. I really don't. I get the fact that in GT3, in the real world, Spa is literally the ultimate endurance race, the Spa 24-hour race. But we're in GR3, remember. It's not quite GT3. Gran Turismo can create their own races, create some unique races, and we could have some fun with that. There are some other tracks that could be used that would be better for racing. I just feel Spa as a daily race B does not work, and it has fundamental problems with the rolling start, dirty air, and actually trying to catch up and even have a race in the first place. Remember, it's a racing game. We're meant to be racing. Please, Gran Turismo, stop your obsession with Spa Group 3. Give us some alternative tracks and alternative races that we can also enjoy. That's going to be it for this video, folks. If you have enjoyed it, do give it a like and do subscribe to the channel. Do let me know in the comments your feelings of Spa and Group 3 racing, because it is very common indeed. I'll say that is it for me. 2 companies to check out: the Head GT Amiga and Fanatec. Use my links below and use code Tidgney at checkout, of course. And 2 videos there to check out, including the weekly race guide. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.